Good morning, ClamourCon. How's everybody doing today? Good, good. Hope you guys are feeling awesome. I am doing amazing despite not having breakfast this morning, but I will power through with a lack of carbs. So I'm not going to super cling to the podium. What I'm going to do is I'm going to project my voice loud enough so that you guys can actually hear. I'm going to talk to you today about a YouTube channel makeover. Our good friends at Adobe have put this on, so thank you, Adobe. Let's give them a quick round of applause real quick. Thank you. And before I do all the clicker things and presentations and the lovely slide decks that I've prepared, I'm going to show you guys Kids Learning Tube. Kids Learning Tube is a YouTube channel put on by Matt over here. And he is a one-man band for the most part, animating everything. And everyone here who's a creator knows what that struggle feels like. And that is not the easiest thing in the world to do everything all on your own. And great, technical difficulties. No, that's okay. That's my laptop, I think, going to sleep. So you saw before. Here is an after. I mocked up kind of a demo here. And I'm going to walk you guys through it and through the visual branding aspects of a YouTube channel, because I think it's one of the most underestimated things for creators. It's great to be able to put your heart and soul into producing, editing, shooting, or animating great videos, but packaging does matter. Even on a YouTube channel that's still successful without it, it could be the difference, and it could get you 2 to 3 times as many views and subscribers. And not to mention, it can help you attract brand deals, which are great for supporting your YouTube channel, especially now. So I think that those things all matter. I'm going to walk you through the mindset and the process of what helped me in taking this over to this. So let's go ahead and hop into our lovely slide deck, and I will talk you guys through this YouTube channel makeover. All right. So just for some context, my name is Roberto Blake. I'm a YouTube creator myself, as well as a creative entrepreneur. And like Matt, I do an education channel, even though I'm doing like career development stuff versus children's online learning. When I was a kid, I used to love the kind of stuff that Matt does, because it reminds me of back in the day. Anybody here a fan of, from back in the day, Reading Rainbow or Shining Time Station or any of that good stuff, Wishbone, those kind of things? Right, and they always had these great songs, and you could sing along and you could learn with them, and it was fantastic. So I actually dig what Matt's doing, but I felt, you know what, the presentation could be a little bit better. So now you know a little bit about the project and where we're going with this, who the target audience is. It's for kids, and it's for parents who are really interested in having something fun and enjoyable that they can sit down and watch. With YouTube channels, you've got a couple of different aspects of visual branding. You've got the YouTube channel artwork that sits above your YouTube channel, and the thing about that is it helps create a little bit of context. It helps people understand if they're going to subscribe or they want to look at your channel, like, what am I here for? What am I going to get? And it also, to be honest, is the packaging of your YouTube channel for the most part when you are promoting the channel. When you're telling them to go to, hey, go to my YouTube channel, this is going to be right there in their face. So it's important. Thumbnails, from a viewership standpoint, are how you're going to drive clicks. It's what's the click-through rate on your YouTube channel, getting you the views that will eventually lead to subscribers, lead to watch time, all those things. That's the packaging. It's like having a book on a bookshelf. It will be judged by its cover, and it will be judged really harshly. And if it's me or Karen, it will be judged primarily on the font that you use. So I think that's just something to keep in mind here. YouTube end cards are one of the most powerful new tools that YouTube has given us, and they're amazing, but that also has to change some of your thumbnail strategy if you're going to utilize end cards a lot, because one of the things I don't think most creators realize is that 1/6 to 1/8 of your channel thumbnail has the text put over it at the end card. And so if you have text at the top of your thumbnails, then it could run together, and that doesn't look great. And maybe you're not super worried about it right now, but as end cards become even more important to getting more watch time on your channel, or having people who watch through the entire video to completion, well, it could be important because it could be a distraction, and you just want to make sure you're presenting yourself in the best light. And finally, profile image. You would think that your YouTube profile image isn't a big deal, but when you're promoting your channel, There are certain aspects and elements where that becomes very important, and when you're commenting on other videos or you're replying to people, it becomes very important. And then with different things that YouTube might evolve or do, or third-party apps or websites, when you're being featured, you have to think of it in the way you would think of an app icon. So if you think about an app icon that represent your brand, this is going to be a big deal, and so it's important to have that and have it be consistent, but also it needs to create context and just kind of identify what your channel is about. So let's hop into Kids Learning Tube. As you saw before, this is what the YouTube channel looked like before. Now, this actually is pretty normal because a lot of people, for thumbnails, what they'll do, most of you have used an existing frame of your video as your thumbnail image, right? That's pretty normal. And if you're putting a lot of time into your editing and stuff like that, making a super fancy thumbnail seems like a lot of extra effort, and maybe you think that or feel that, all right, if I show a frame from the existing video, then that's context. I'm showing people what I'm promising them, what I'm going to deliver on, and that makes a certain amount of sense, and for different types of videos, it can work. But when your video is around an idea, or when your video is a tutorial, I would advise you to go a different route and think of it like you would package a book or an instruction manual, something fun. You know, the thing is, Nintendo's here, and one of the things I remember as a kid is how well they packaged their instruction manuals and how well designed all of their cover artwork for the packaging of a game is. So I think that we can take a lesson from that. So this is what I redid, and you can see it's a huge difference. This is before, this is after. World of difference, right? Now, why I did this is because I wanted to communicate what this channel is about and communicate the value. From a design standpoint, I also looked at what is successful in YouTube from an education standpoint. So I took some inspiration from channels like Life Noggin, which is another animation channel on YouTube that breaks down really complex concepts. And I looked at SciShow, which is a popular YouTube channel that the Vlog Brothers are behind, and it teaches science learning stuff. And so I thought about, well, you know what? They do really great thumbnails, and what they do that's really strong is they have big, bold text that you can see a mile away, which matters, and they have beautiful colors, and they simplify a concept so that when you're looking at it, even if you don't read, you kind of get what's going on here. And with a kids learning channel, whether you're a kid or an adult, not having to guess what you're clicking on kind of matters. And I thought that if kids, even if they're young, but they're old enough to understand how to use a computer, what would they click on? I figured that they would click on something that has a picture of a kid and it looks like a cartoon, because that's what they're used to, and that's what they like, and that's what they identify with. Also, we all know as a kid, bright colors, primary colors, that's a go-to. So that one was a no-brainer. So from a design and aesthetic standpoint, I figured that makes sense, and if they're old enough to read, big text is always the way to go when you're reaching a young audience. Technically in YouTube, I would argue that big text is the way to go, period. So I went with big, bold, beautiful fonts. I used Bebas New, which I believe is available in Adobe Typekit. And then for my graphics, I actually went to Adobe stock and got most of these graphics. And then there were a few pieces that I just had laying around. So I wanted to do a clean, aesthetically pleasing design that would attract the target audience and would be easy to get kids and parents to feel comfortable to click on and excited about what this is. So you can see that, oh, well, that's obvious that that's about trains, and that's the solar system, it's got the planets, and oh, okay, Japan, I went with something simple to communicate the Japanese flag, 12 months. I used a calendar. Very easy things to grasp. So you can see before and after that, okay, this is using the frames of the video, but it's very dark, and dark doesn't necessarily appeal to kids. It does stand off of the white background of YouTube, but color can do that a lot better. So in general with visual branding and in YouTube where you want to get attention, I think you have to pay attention to not only design color theory, the thing that me and Karen know about and that we love so much because we have a background in design and marketing and those things, but think about color psychology. Bright colors and pastels attract a young audience. There are shades and tones that you can use that are not gender specific as well. So that's actually really good when you want to attract a broad audience. So I think that using the right color palettes and not being locked into necessarily a color scheme, because if you do the same colors over and over and over, repetition is great on one hand, and then guess what else it is? It's boring. So, I think that jazzing it up, changing things, and having a few different layouts that still feel consistent is important. So let's look at the YouTube channel artwork. I put this up because this, in the event that you have a smart TV or they're on a gaming console, it's going to be in full screen. So I wanted to think about, well, what would this look like in full screen? Because the songs are available to buy in iTunes, I went ahead and I positioned buy the songs accordingly with a big down arrow. You'll remember earlier that it had a big star and a down arrow. I thought this was simpler and just clear and just says what it is. Just point right there, go buy it now. So I made that straightforward. I considered with, you can't see it because the colors are washed out here on the projector, but it's kind of the color of the chalkboard from The Simpsons that Bart's writing on, and it's always something like weird in the intro to The Simpsons, because if kids watch television or in general, and when I was a kid, actually we had that green chalkboard. I don't know if you guys remember that. Is anyone here old enough to remember chalkboards? Yeah, it's like, so the thing, like, you know, they don't exist. I prefer whiteboards now. It's like I'm going to paint my walls to be a living whiteboard, but that's a whole nother presentation. So I decided, okay, I'll go with that because it communicates something about learning. I went with, you know, a bunch of kids because I'm like, oh, well, this represents necessarily probably the group of kids at the school or whatever, or on the playground, and then books, because even though this is a visual channel, it's the fastest shortcut in our brain for saying we're learning something. Because, you know, most of us remembered books, and hopefully, you know, 20 years from now, books still exist. So, you know, this will have some staying power if YouTube still exists, which I'm pretty sure it will, in some form. Please, like, so please, advertising gods. So I went with this interesting concept because this will look good full screen if they happen to be on a television set. And then you obviously saw what it looks like on a regular computer screen. So the anatomy of a click-worthy thumbnail. I want to get into this before I show you guys, like, you know, the big, beautiful, like, thumbnails, you know, just sneak peek there. But the anatomy of a good thumbnail. Visual balance, like, okay, what's going to be on the left here, what's going to be on the right. Make this as like clutter-free as possible, and also consider the fact that YouTube playlists, hugely underutilized feature, are a big deal, and that YouTube kind of blocks out this half of your image when it's in a playlist versus this half. So you want to start thinking about those things and visually balance it accordingly and decide, okay, do I put my text over here, or do I put something like a human face over here? Which one works better? So you want to think a little bit about that. And again, just make it not have a lot of clutter. Grab attention. You need it to be clicked. You don't need it to be clickbait, but it should be click-worthy. And to be click-worthy, you have to create context, you have to trigger curiosity, and again, I think that color is a great way to get attention. You saw that we had a thumbnail in there that has a white background and it has the colors red in it, but YouTube is moving much more to utilizing white space, and so if you have a white background, you have to put a color border around it because it's just gonna bleed into infinity, and it's like gonna be harder to see it and wrap your head around it. It's not going to be comfortable, so you need to go that route if that's something you're doing. It needs to communicate something clearly. You'll notice in these thumbnails that we're clearly communicating very quickly what it is you're going to get. The upfront value proposition is not confusing at all, so make sure it's communicating clearly. The text, you need to see it a mile away. Back when I was in the ad agency days, I used to do billboards. So I know about that, okay, that 60-mile-an-hour test is the same thing with YouTube. You're gonna be like scanning through that thing in the search results and everything like that. And you need, on some level, certain things to just scream at you because they're competing for your attention. So big text, you don't have to second guess it. You're just like, oh, I see what that is. It gets my attention. It's bold. And oh, I can read this really quickly, and use as few words as possible when you're doing that with text. Use it well, or don't use it at all. Do not use Comic Sans. I will come after you. I'm not kidding. Good color balance, good color psychology. In this case, we're dealing with kids. I talked about dark backgrounds earlier, but in this case, it creates context because we're talking about space. So, it makes sense to do a dark background. I'm allowed to break my own rules. I'm a rebel. So, big, bold text. You guys can see that in the back, right? Easy enough to read. I can take off these glasses and I can still see it. So, yep, that is important. Contrast, color, attention. Okay, I went ahead and used a white background, but I still found a way that this will stand out in YouTube even though it's a white background. and it grabs your attention. Red's a stop color. I used color psychology. Stop and pay attention to this. So that makes sense. And then it is part of the motif of the Japanese flag. So if it's an education thing where we're going to learn about Japan and Japanese culture, then it makes sense. Trains for kids. Show, don't tell. Here's a train. Here's a kid. You can't be more straightforward than that. 12 months. Oh, here's a calendar. You know, again, make it simple. So I talked earlier about YouTube end cards. YouTube end cards are a relatively new feature that they implemented, and they do get clicked. My God, am I surprised at the analytics on that, and it's worked out really well, and it can increase watch time. Everyone here knows that watch time is the thing that YouTube values more than anything, right? I think we all know that. Show of hands. All right, and if you didn't know, now you know. Knowing is half the battle. In this case, probably all of it. So with the YouTube end cards, having a custom end card template instead of just a black screen with, oh, here's some more videos and here's a subscribe circle, it's like, no, you want to create a custom end card that can help create some context. So I did a screenshot because I went and I actually did a whole mock-up channel. I used one of my, experimental channels that has all the features enabled to go ahead and mock this up so you can see what a real end card would look like. Now you can go ahead and you can put text. In this case, I just didn't go that far because it's a kids channel. It's like maybe less text might be better here, etc. But you could always put previous video or latest upload or YouTube recommends or something like that, and you can make your own template. And I highly recommend that you do make your own end card template. End cards, if I'm not mistaken, can have about up to, 15 or 20 seconds of a video at the end. So you want to plan that accordingly, and you can go ahead and make this, and you can either make it static or animated, and you can go ahead and put that in the end of your videos. If you want to get really fancy, Adobe has its new Essential Graphics panel, and you could go ahead and template something out for your end cards and maybe have some fly-in text that says subscribe or something like that. You can get fancy if you want to, but once you make this and standardize it, you can drop it at the end of every single video to help you promote other videos. So I went ahead and laid this out with some kids, and because we have three main things, we have 2 videos, and then we have a subscribe circle. I went ahead and I put 3 kids at the bottom. I gave it some visual space, some breathing room, and so I could either put text there or I could put arrows, just draw them like, what have you, and that would work. So I think that having those at the end can help, and you see exactly what I was talking about earlier about the text that overlays on your thumbnail that YouTube generates. And you can see that I designed these thumbnails with that in mind, so that it wouldn't be cluttered and it wouldn't overlap. And I think that that can be super helpful. I think it helps make things clear, and it doesn't look bad. It's like, as much as a designer, I kind of like not thinking about and using that headspace, especially when I'm doing something with photography. I kind of had to get over it and give YouTube a little bit of breathing room to do their thing, because it's their platform, so I'm just gonna play in it. I'm gonna play to win. So profile image. Profile image is key in a lot of things, especially for the far majority of you that are interactive and engaged in your comment section, because it not only represents you, but when you're on other channels and you're commenting, then it's also there, and it can trigger people's curiosity, because if you have a good profile pic there as a thumbnail, they can be like, oh, well, that's interesting, and that's an interesting channel name, and that was an interesting comment. What are they about? They hover over, they see your about section, and then maybe they click through, and then, oh, in their face is that channel artwork that we talked about earlier. So you can see how this all ties together. You'll also notice that this is consistent. This style of character is consistent with everything else I've done on the channel so far. So you have continuity, and that's really important for a brand, because if we've learned anything from marketing in the past, from every form of media that's been presented to us, continuity matters. The most frustrating thing to me in a movie is when I've watched a trilogy all the way through and they change the actor as if I'm stupid and I'm not gonna notice it. Really bugs me. It's one of my pet peeves. And so continuity is important. Consistency is important. If I've learned anything from all the Apple products that I've shelled out an unnecessary amount of money on, it's the power of consistency when it leads to decision making. So I would just kind of reiterate that point, and that there are things that help you promote YouTube and distribute where your profile pic is the thing that they use. So think of it the way you would an app icon if you had an app in the App Store and you want people to download. Think about how this represents you there. For a lot of you, this will be your profile pic. My tips on that as a photographer, have your profile pic mostly show as much of your face as possible, but maybe it's not straight on, and I would actually angle it slightly so that when you're commenting, it looks like you're talking and like a word bubble is coming out of your mouth, because that actually does something psychologically and it just looks aesthetically pleasing, and it will make my OCD go a lot better, so please do that. And yeah, so those are some thoughts. And thank you guys for sitting through that presentation. And real quick before Karen comes up, I'll take a few questions if you have them. Yes?
In regards to end cards, do you notice a difference if the end card is just on a screen on its own, maybe some music playing in the background, or if the host of the video is talking, where they say, if you enjoyed this video about Japan, here's another video we did about another Asian country, China. Check it out here.
Great.
Any difference in the analytics?
I believe in both, and I actually have planned in my own channel accordingly for both, because in videos that you want, or videos that thematically I think have a strong playlist behind them that's going to be very core to your brand and what you're doing, I would recommend doing stuff like that and taking the extra time from a production standpoint, especially if there's a playlist of related videos, or you're planning a playlist of related videos. I am in many ways a playlist first strategist when it comes to YouTube, so I always think in terms of how this video is going to relate to a series in the future, even if I haven't mapped that out yet. And I plan accordingly. I recommend the templating option of something static, maybe with background music or a little bit of animation or motion going in the background, just because that can be aesthetically pleasing, it can set tone, and it's easy to mass reproduce. So my answer is maybe you start with that thing that you can mass reproduce, and then for very specific videos, like the one you were mentioning, you plan that. For example, in Matt's case, maybe something where, because you have a whole series around countries, around different countries, you can make something that's specific to, if you enjoyed this video, we've covered countries from all over the world, and then it still lets you be specific about that playlist, but you can attach that to every other video that's about countries. So you could think about it either at an individual video level, a playlist level, or a channel level. I recommend all three, to be honest. It's a little bit of extra work, but it's scalable because you could go channel first with something generic, like I showed, then you could go playlist, and then you can go video. In general, with anything in YouTube, I recommend you think channel, playlist, individual video in all things. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thanks.
All right, we got one more. One more?
Do you have any tips on how to edit videos faster?
Whole different presentation. I've actually covered that before, and you know what? Actually, we talked about that at Vlogger Fair. Don't be fancy. Keep it simple. Give yourself a process. Learn all the Adobe Premiere shortcuts. Make some things in advance that you can use over and over and over again. And also, when you flub and you make mistakes, one, expand the timeline and do this when you make a mistake, so that you know where to cut and edit, and you can mark it, and you can cut all of your flubs. And me, I usually do this and go, and then I know it. So like when I'm watching, I know, okay, that's the part you cut. So that's my trick for faster editing.
Right after this session, I'm going to be doing like a tech tips presentation for Adobe, and so we can go.
Okay, boom. So right after this, tech tips from Adobe. Boom. There you go. Don't go anywhere. So, without further ado, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you guys so much. And now, the lovely and talented Karen Cabot. No pressure.
This is so good. I feel so intimidated now.
Yours will be better. You'll do fine. I ramble too much.